All right, Madam Clerk, can I just start going through the docket?
Yes, Your Honor. The first defendant that we have with an arraignment form filled out is Christopher Cooper.
Okay. The court calls for Christopher G. Cooper. This is the Montesano Municipal Court. It is January 11th. We're broadcasting live on YouTube. We're also recording all proceedings on Zoom. Are you Christopher Cooper?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Cooper, you are charged in this court today, and you're here for arraignment, allegedly driving on a license suspended in the third degree. That is a misdemeanor offense, and it carries a maximum penalty of 90 days in jail and a $1,000 fine. Do you understand the charge against you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You do have rights in this court. You have a right to an attorney if you cannot afford one. You also have a right to hire your own attorney. You're presumed innocent until proven guilty, and you have a right to trial in this court, whether it be a bench trial in front of myself or before a jury. And at trial, you have the right to hear and question witnesses and have witnesses testify in your defense. If convicted at trial, you have a right to appeal your conviction. Do you understand all those rights?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Understanding your charge and all the rights that you have, do you plead guilty or not guilty today?
At this time, Your Honor, I'd like to plead not guilty because I'm working on getting this case to court. It was an insurance company who suspended my license, and this has just snowballed ever since then, and they won't even tell me why they suspended my license.
Okay. Are you aware that you have some warrants in other courts?
And I just found out today, yes, sir.
Okay. That's probably going to be one of the things you'll need to do to clear your license up. Are you asking for an attorney to be appointed to represent you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. As far as your financial status, do you receive state assistance or Social Security?
Social Security, Your Honor.
Okay. I'm going to find that you're eligible for a public defender. We will appoint the city's public defender to represent you. His name is Killian Duncason. He's not here today, but we will provide you with his contact information on your way out of the courtroom. It's expected that you make contact with him prior to your next court date so he can assist you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
As far as your release conditions, I will release you on your personal recognizance. I won't require bail or bond to be posted, but a condition of your release is that you not drive unless you have a valid license and insurance. Are we clear on that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, that concludes your court hearing today, Mr. Cooper. You're free to leave. Make sure you check out with the court clerk.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
The next case we have, Your Honor, is Donald Brown.
All right, the court calls for Donald Lewis Brown. And you are Donald Lewis Brown?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Brown, you are charged with the crime of driving on a license suspended in the first degree. Did you receive paperwork today that you went through?
Yes, sir, I did.
You understand the charge against you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You also have the same rights in this court. This is a gross misdemeanor offense. It can carry a maximum of $5,000 and 364 days in jail. It could result in further license suspension. You understand all that?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. To the charge against you, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
A plea of not guilty is entered on your behalf. Are you requesting a court-appointed attorney, or do you plan to hire one?
Court appointed, please.
Okay. Are you receiving any public assistance, or how do you support yourself?
Yep. I'm getting food stamps.
Okay. I do find that you're eligible. We'll go ahead and appoint the city's public defender to represent you. You'll be provided with his contact information on your way out of court, and make sure that we have a good mailing address and phone number when you check out with the court clerk.
All right.
Okay. Same goes for you, like the gentleman before. Unless you're validly licensed and insured, your condition of release is that you not drive.
All right.
Okay.
Is there anything on your end that you can do to help get my occupational license?
That is strictly a Department of Licensing issue. It has nothing to do with my court.
All right.
Wish we could help you out, but that's outside of my wheelhouse. So we'll go ahead and set a pre-trial hearing for the month of February. You'll get notice of that today. And please make contact with your attorney before your next court hearing.
Yes, sir.
All right. That concludes your case. Thank you.
Yes. The next defendant, Your Honor, is Harold Dennis Haney.
All right. If Mr. Haney would step forward. And you are Mr. Haney?
Excuse me, sir?
You are Harold Haney?
Yes, I am.
Okay. If you could remove your hat in the courtroom, that would be
Oh,
appreciated.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Haney, you are here today for an arraignment. You're charged with driving on a license suspended in the third degree. Did you go over your paperwork today?
Yes,
Okay. The charge against you is a misdemeanor. It can carry 90 days in jail and a $1,000 fine. Did you hear me explain the rights to the first few people who came?
yes, I did, sir.
And you understand those rights?
Yes, sir.
Okay. To the charge, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
I plead guilty, sir.
Okay. Have you looked at how you can get your license reinstated, Mr. Haney?
Yes, I have met the requirements that I have to do to get it reinstated. I just have to go down and take the test, written and the driving test, which I have scheduled for next Tuesday on the 25th.
Okay. Mr. Haney, let's do this. Let's set your arraignment over until we'll set it early February for an arraignment. And do you think you'll have a license by that date, by that time?
I expect to, yes. I should be able to have it right after the 25th of February or
Okay.
January.
Because rather than being convicted of a criminal offense, if you were to come back before this court with a valid license, the city attorney has a standing motion to amend these types of charges to an infraction that would not have a detrimental effect like a criminal violation would. So if you want to take the opportunity to try to come back with a license, I'm willing to entertain it.
Yes, sir, I would like that.
Okay. We will reset arraignment. We'll continue that to early February court date. You'll receive that on your way out of court, and we'll see you back on that day.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
We don't have any other arraignments, Your Honor. We have one contested hearing, but I believe that the park and enforcement officer was going to attend. I do have a couple of people in the waiting room.
If you can, who is it that we have in the waiting room? Mr. McNeil and his client?
Yes.
All right, why don't we bring in Melissa Milbourne and her attorney, Steve McNeil. All right, the court is calling for Melissa Milbourne. I see that her attorney, Mr. Stephen McNeil, is present. If both can unmute their devices and turn on their cameras. There we go. Ms. Milburn, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, Mr. McNeil, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. From what the docket shows, Mr. McNeil, this matter comes on for arraignment. Have you entered an appearance in this case?
Second here. So I came up last week to drop off a notice of appearance, and for some reason your court was closed. I'm not sure what the issue was.
Okay.
There was a note on the door that indicates that I should drop off any filings with the city clerk,
Okay.
which I did. I watched her go through a closed door and
Okay.
route it somewhere. And I guess I can't say what somebody else did. I know I did my due diligence.
Well, your name's on the docket, so I'm assuming we received your appearance. Mr. McNeil, do you want to waive a reading of the rights and an entry of a plea today? How do you plan to proceed?
Yeah, yes, please. Just waive the reading of the rights and of the charges and enter plea of not guilty. I think it's just one count of assault 4 DV, right?
That's correct. And the court chose not to issue a protection order in this case based on the probable cause that was previously found. So a plea of not guilty is entered. Mr. McNeil, our next court date is near the end of February. Is that going to be enough time, or are you looking to set this into March?
When is the prosecutor there? Will he be there at the end of February?
He'll be there at the fourth week of February, whatever that Tuesday date falls on.
Ms. Milburn, what do you want? You want into March or do you want February?
I'm thinking about March
Okay, my client
or
would prefer March.
whatever works. I mean, I'm pretty flexible.
Okay. Well, since today is our official arraignment, the court has no problem setting the matter on our fourth week in March court date.
March 22nd.
Okay. Mr. McNeil, if you'll make sure we have a good mailing address for your client, we will issue notice of her hearing both to you and her.
Okay, I'll make sure she verifies that with the clerk after we're off the public airwaves.
Sure. And as far as release conditions, no similar violations, law-abiding behavior, no hostile contact with the alleged victim. But as I stated, there is not a protection order issued in this case.
Okay.
So that concludes the arraignment today. Is this the only matter you have on, Mr. McNeil?
It is, Your Honor. And then just for clarification, on March 22nd, would that be at 3 or is there a different time slot?
No, so we start at 2:45 on that day. Madam Clerk can give you the exact time that we have the private counsel pre-trials.
Okay.
2 p.m.
Oh, 2 p.m. Okay.
So 2.
All right, well, that concludes the arraignment today. You both are free to log off.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Madam Clerk, do we have anyone else in the Zoom waiting room?
We do not, Your Honor.
Okay, then what I'm going to do is go through our docket, and if there is a contested parking ticket with witnesses, I would like to see the, I'll call it the probable cause affidavit in the ticket so I can review that in advance. All right, so the court calls for Roberto DeMauro. Defendant's name has been called. It's interesting he's not here because he is eligible to reinstate his license. We will set both matters over to our first court date in February. Next we have James Glenn McClure, who's on today for arraignment, driving suspended 3rd degree, along with 2 trailing infractions. This is a newer case. I'm going to allow arraignment to be reset one time to our early February court dates. And the court calls the matter City versus Sarah Meacham. She comes on today for an arraignment, charge of theft, 3rd degree. I reviewed her case history. She has warrants outstanding in other courts, and the court will find that there's an interest in public safety and issue a bench warrant in the amount of $750. Next matter is James Morris, comes on for arraignment, theft, 3rd degree. I reviewed his history. There's not much in the way of warrants, and I'm going to reset his arraignment to the first week of February. And then the last, number 12 on our arraignment calendar, we have Tina Ship. I reviewed her case history. She has warrants already outstanding, similar charges on her record, and the court will set a bench warrant to issue in the amount of $750. And that brings us to our 3:20 calendar. Madam Clerk, I'm going to take a break until 3:20, and then I'll come back online and we can take care of things in the meantime if you'd like to get me the information on the one contested matter with a witness. All right, I'll be back around 3:20.